On the topic of sodium, I thought that the title of the sodium session at Nutrition 2018 was kind of telling. It was called the Sodium Conundrum. And yes, it has been a conundrum for decades. Industry attempts to bring sodium down. We know that processed foods contribute, most stats say about 70% of sodium in Americans' diets. And we're supposed to have 2,300 milligrams a day or less, according to recommendations, but we're really closer to 3,400 milligrams. So yes, there is a sodium conundrum. In this meeting, I heard some good discussion around the fact that the sodium and potassium DRIs, the dietary reference intakes, are under review. We'll have new intakes that will be released in early 2019, is what we were told. And I think what's interesting about this is there may, in fact, for the first time be a chronic disease DRI. So a DRI for specific populations that have some kind of condition that may mean their sodium and or potassium intakes need to vary from the general population. So we would have a traditional DRI and we'd have a chronic DRI. This is, I think, where we're headed, because the reality is about 1 in 2 Americans have some sort of chronic disease. So you need sort of a DRI specific for them. Next, it was important that we heard things about how this new guidance coming will not have recommendations for industry, which is not surprising. That's not really the role of these committees. But in other words, it falls on the industry to figure out the ways and technologies to reduce sodium to healthful levels that still maintain the taste that consumers have come to expect. We heard a good discussion around how it really does vary by product category, and even within a product category, it can vary by SKU. So if I take a broth-based soup versus a cream-based soup and I reduce the sodium by 10%, it may be very okay and acceptable in, say, the cream-based soup, but not good in the broth-based soup. What if I take that same percent of 10 and up it even to 15%? It may then go off the cliff and just taste horrible. So it's very sensitive. Our human palate is really sensitized to sodium, and every little bit makes a difference. Wrapping it up, a Foodscape point of view is simply the sodium conundrum is alive and well. It will continue, but we look forward to the new sodium potassium DRIs that will come out early next year.